Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you want in the body and mind you want. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of freedom with food and your body, you're in the right place. Just a reminder that this podcast represents my own opinions. The content here should not be taken as medical advice. The content here is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult your doctor or healthcare professional for any individual medical questions you may have. Hello, friends, and welcome. I'm glad you're here today, and we are going to talk about the top 3 mistakes that most likely every single one of us have made in our weight loss journey, trying to lose weight, trying to get healthy, trying to keep weight off, trying to stay in maintenance. In my world, I have 3 top mistakes that I have made, that most of my clients make. This is going to be a quick and short episode just to really give you those top 3 things that I believe we make in regards to sustainable weight loss. And through each mistake that I list, I'm going to talk about ways around it and ways that you can kind of combat these mistakes and what you should be doing instead. So the first mistake is probably one you could probably guess if you listen to this podcast a lot, and that is restriction. Now, it's true to lose weight, we need to take in less energy than we are expending, and we can do this through what I like to call guidelines around food and drink. Thinking about guidelines around food and drink versus thinking in restrictive terms is really a game changer for your brain. If my goal is to lose weight or create a healthier relationship with food, like I want to discontinue overeating or binging or emotional eating, then setting up guidelines for myself to create new habits around food can actually be very freeing. It's that saying, that saying of how discipline actually equals freedom. Discipline can actually create freedom. When I was in my binging restricting days, I can tell you that this is where I actually felt the most confined, the most imprisoned, even during my binging episodes when it was like this, allowing myself this freedom around to eat whatever I wanted and all the things. It actually was so imprisoning because I was in the space of not being able to stop, of not really being in control. And that's a very confining space. My thoughts were constantly on food, what I couldn't have, or what was I going to overeat on later or tomorrow if I could just starve myself today. The food chatter was intense, and I know there are many of you out there experiencing this, where food and your weight just become your life. And then there's all this shame and guilt that you feel constantly due to your behaviors with food. This is prison. This is not freedom. And when I would have binging episodes, the sense that I would have, like I said, that total freedom to eat whatever I wanted. But the truth is, in that moment, there was no freedom in that at all. It was a cyclic prison of urges and feeling that obsessive need to fulfill the urge and then dropping into shame after I overate until I could starve myself again for a few days, right? To try to get rid of that shame, try to make it better, try to be good again until the overeating and binging inevitably would start up again. So, it's just that question of how in any way is this freedom? It's just not. But when I have some guidelines that I practice holding myself to, like I will eat what I want, but only until enough. I'm going to practice stopping at enough. I am not going to I'm not going to eat until I'm over full. Or maybe it's a guideline of I will eat whatever I want when I'm actually hungry. Or maybe it's the guideline like I feel awful when I eat dairy, and that's not a freeing feeling when I'm feeling awful after I eat dairy. So I'm not going to eat dairy. And so you can kind of see how I talk about the guidelines to myself. It is not from that restriction mentality, like, oh, I can't I can never eat dairy again and that's so awful. Or it's not fair, I can't eat as much as my brain wants to. Or everyone else can eat what they want, but I can't. That is all restriction mentality. It is thoughts about restriction. It's restrictive thoughts, and that only fuels the urges to eventually overeat, to give up, to sit in defeat. And this habitual thinking process will never get you where you want to be. So, first big mistake to sustainable weight loss and health, using restriction mentality. Okay, second big mistake, thinking you have to follow rules to lose weight. How many times have I heard things like, well, if I want to lose weight, I can never drink alcohol again. Or if I want to lose weight, I have to stick to 1,200 calories a day. This sort of rule following, again, sets us up for the restrictive thinking and or that black and white thinking. And here's the truth. There is not a right way or a wrong way. There is an effective and enjoyable way to do this. And yes, I said it, an actual enjoyable way. And this is different for every person, but when we figure it out, it literally unlocks the secrets to weight loss and weight loss sustainability for you. I hope you are finding something useful from these episodes and this podcast. And if so, please share it with someone else in your life you feel it could benefit. This podcast is also now monetized. So if you really feel you are getting a lot from it and want to help keep it going, please go to the episode show notes. You can just scroll down from wherever you're listening. You'll see a description of the episode, and then you will see it says support this podcast. And then there's a link you can click on. You can click on that link, and that's where you can support the podcast. Even the smallest donation, like 99 cents, helps to keep me producing the podcast. And to those of you who have donated, I really, really appreciate the support. I really do appreciate all of you listening and sharing the space with me. Again, just very thankful for all of you. One of the ways I partner with my clients to get them to sustainable weight loss or to health markers, partnering together, we really work to figure out what are the ways of eating and thinking that make the weight loss actually doable and even above and beyond that, enjoyable. So when you figure out a way of eating that allows you to eat foods you enjoy, when you figure out the ways to get your body to regulate your appetite, so when you're not fighting cravings or urges all the time to binge, and you know how to nourish your body with particular foods in a way that promotes this appetite correction, then losing weight or maintaining your weight loss does become actually easy. There is no perfect diet or right way or wrong way. Well, actually, the wrong way would be to be thinking you have to follow rules or you won't be successful. That way of thinking does actually produce self-sabotage and restriction mentality and gets us eventually, nowhere, and typically a few extra pounds on top of where we started at. So, second biggest mistake, thinking you have to follow rules to lose weight. All right, third and final biggest mistake, you think you will lose weight only by changing your behaviors. So if I stay at 1,000 calories a day, I'll lose weight. Or if I run 5 miles every day, I'll lose weight. Or if I, have to stop eating by 6 p.m. Or maybe I'll only eat between noon and 4 p.m. and then I'll lose weight. This is all focused around our behaviors, our actions. And yes, it is true. We need to change our habits and our behaviors to lose weight or gain more positive health markers. But to change our habits, our behaviors, we actually first need to be changing our thoughts and our habit thoughts and our patterns of thinking. Because remember, a thought creates a feeling. That feeling has along with it sensations, chemical cocktails that create sensations in our bodies. And this feeling sensation package drives our behaviors. So if I think things like, I'm such a pig, I just ate all that food, I can't believe I did that, I'm hopeless, I'm so screwed up. Or if I step on the scale and the scale is up by 1 pound or 5 pounds the next day, if I see that number and I'm thinking things like, I'm such a terrible person. I'm so fat. I can't believe I gained this weight. All that thinking does is create feelings of rejection, defeat, disgust, shame, and these feelings lead to behaviors of giving up. And typically, for me, I know personally, as well as many of my clients, typically these feelings lead to overeating even more. And that's to try to momentarily stop us from feeling the hard feelings and the beat down that we're giving ourselves, which then lead to more thoughts of, I can't do this. See, I just ate all that food again. Screw it. I'm a disgusting person, which of course continues the cycle of shame and so on. So the key to really understand that for sustainable long-term weight loss, but also for that healthy, free relationship with food, we need to be doing our thought work above and beyond focusing on just following some behavior protocol around food. Okay, so third biggest mistake, you think you lose weight only by changing your behaviors. We want to be focused on putting energy and time into our thought work first or alongside working on changing our habit behaviors. Okay, I have given you my top 3 mistakes that we make when trying to lose weight and or gain a healthy relationship with food and our bodies. I really hope you will maybe even re-listen to this episode. It's a little bit shorter, so you might have time to replay it to really let these things sink in on where you actually want to be putting your energy and effort into. It is your thinking in order to lose weight and get healthy in a way that is sustainable for life. As always, thank you for listening. I really do appreciate all of you who share this space with me every week. And the best part is when I get to work with one of you one-on-one, or I get an email from you letting me know that you're learning things and really aligning with this podcast. I get more and more of those every week, and I so appreciate them. It just makes me feel like, well, it makes me know, and I always have known this, but there are so many of us who understand each other, who are on this journey together, and it really keeps me in a space of continuing on with producing these episodes to really get the message out there on how we can shift away from all the awful diet mentality we have been programmed with and how to move ourselves into that space of freedom with our food and body relationship. Thanks again for listening, and we will talk soon. Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen, and get in touch with questions on all things I offer, like online courses for overeating, weight loss, goal attainment, and also my coaching and counseling services.